that. Okay. So thank you everybody for joining us this morning, and welcome to everybody on the call. I do apologize. I do hear feedback, and it's distracting me a little bit because I have the call on my phone. Okay. So anyway, welcome to everybody. This is our monthly PAC meeting. And so today's meeting, we will be covering updates with the PAC and also updates with the Academy. So thank you to those that will be sharing updates from the Academy as well. So I will start off, and let me make sure I can get to the slide. So our executive committee reports will be the first. And so welcome to everybody who I have not met yet or have had a chance to talk to. My name is Maria Tianco Ramos. I'm one of the Marias of the PAC, and I'm this year's president. So just a little recap, I do have 3 students at IMSA this year, a sophomore, a junior, and a senior. And for my updates of what's been going on since our last meeting, I've had the opportunity to share information at the Board of Trustees meeting, and also to continue to participate in a small working group of the Transition Task Force, sharing some insights from fellow parents. So I encourage you to reach out to me if you do have any questions regarding that. And the best email is at theimsapac@gmail.com. Next is our Vice President, Kathy Williams, and she's unable to be with us today for the meeting, but she has been hard at work working with interested people for regional representatives, and so we will be sharing more on who the regional representatives are towards the end of the meeting. And also she has been working hard at helping us to get some senior banquet committee co-chairs. So hopefully she will have an update for us soon on who those committee co-chairs are. And if you are interested in helping out with senior banquet committee, please let us know. You can also email at theimsapac@gmail.com, and we will get that forwarded over to Kathy. Okay. And next, I'd like to introduce Alex Williams, our treasurer. Alex?
Good morning, everyone. This is Alex Williams, serve as the treasurer. I will present a brief treasurer report. And do we have a slide that's being displayed?
Yes.
Okay. To that mode so I can see what everyone's seeing. Okay. So just as a reminder, if in case there's folks that's not familiar with how the budget works, we do have 3 accounts that are
back because there's an open case for my connection issues that is not fixed, and I'm hoping that you're able to tell me that somebody can come out today instead of tomorrow.
Okay, I'll start over. Sorry about that. So just as a reminder for everyone, in case you're not familiar with how the budget works for the PAC, we have 3 accounts. One is the main account that we use for bill payments and transactions. Then we have a bus service account, and then we have a senior banquet account. The intention of all 3 accounts are to be self-funding, meaning we generate enough income to offset expenses. So in theory, we have a zero funded account for each one. We do hold reserve balances for rainy days. So what I'm sharing here is both the current balances and to give everyone a overview of how much money we collect and the expenses we anticipate having. So I won't go through it line by line, but I will say that we have a very healthy budget. our total balance as of today is $46,844. Of course, we haven't had our expenses yet, so we did get our first contribution from IMSA that funds the main account. And then for the bus service and senior banquet, revenue will be generated based off students who use those services. And then the expenses are separated for each budget based off what those actual services will cost. And so that's what we're showing on the screen today, our anticipated expenses and corresponding revenue. Now, of course, with the virtual learning, the amounts will decrease if we no longer need services. So for example, if we have only one semester of bus services that we contract with, of course we won't, parents who use the service for one semester won't contribute as much as they would if they use it for the entire year. So the corresponding revenue would go down with the corresponding expenses, et cetera. So this is a full academic year budget, and we know we'll have adjustments. So just a couple other quick points. We are starting to use QuickBooks, so moving forward for monthly meetings, we'll be able to show actual versus budgeted amount, and it'll be very clear as to where we're at. And then we are going to be setting up a savings account to hold our reserve balances. So right now, our reserve balances are sitting in those three main accounts. Those will be transitioned over to a dedicated savings account so that it's a little bit more clear actual versus expenses in those three accounts. And then we did establish a IMSA PAC PayPal account, which helps with reimbursements, making it a little bit more easier. So for example, for families like myself who last year had a little bit of a refund from the bus service, it's a little bit easier for us to now reimburse those expenses back to families. So it just makes it a little bit more easy. So, and then we also purchased a service called TechSoup, which gives us a discount on things like QuickBooks and other services that we use to conduct business. So that's a small dollar amount, but it simplifies the way we do business. And so we'll continue to leverage tools like that to make the tracking and accounting of the budget very clear and transparent. So I'll pause there and see if there's any questions. Okay, well, if there is ever any questions about the budget, you can always send an email to the imsapac@gmail.com, and it'll be forwarded to me, and I can follow up as needed.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alex, for the update.
Thank you.
And next we have our secretary, Kyle Blake. Kyle Blake.
Nothing really new from me. Hi, everyone. If you don't know me, my name's Kyle. I live in Central Illinois. I currently have one daughter who is a junior at IMSA, and I have one daughter who is in the process of applying to IMSA. So we will see. But that's all. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Kyle, and good luck to her. And then next we have Aldwin Antarola, our at-large member. Aldwin?
Hello, my name is Alvin Antarola. I'm from Carbondale. I have two sons at IMSA. James, if you see in the picture, he's holding my daughter, Claire. She's in first grade. And Ivan is a senior. That's it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, and our sophomore rep, Katerina Kazukas. Katerina?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Katerina Kazukas, and I'm actually a proud parent of a now sophomore at IMSA. I am excited to be the sophomore parent rep. And I basically wanted to just say, for those of you that are sophomore parents that may be on the meeting to this morning, if you have suggestions, since we're probably in a class of our own, not having had an in-person experience to really either sort of get to know or connect with other parents, or even for the kids, our students, to actually get to know each other. If you have any suggestions or have any feedback on how I can help facilitate some of that for you through a variety of things, I've been trying to sort of behind the scenes get some ideas on how to sort of connect parents or get them to feel a little bit more connected than they otherwise might be in this weird environment. So I'm excited to be a part of the PAC, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Thank you, Katerina. And even though some of the executive committee did not have individual updates, we have been meeting as the executive board to discuss some of the different things to help move the PAC along, and also to be supports for parents and students at IMSA. So now we'll move into the leadership committee reports. And the first one is academic committee, which is Moju, Gabriella, and Kathleen.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Moju Fasurici, and my co-chairs are Gabriella and Kathleen. This is we have a email address that you can get in touch with us. As part of, we can go to the next slide. As part of what academic committee do, we meet with Dr. Akwaji Anderson on a regular basis to bring information to her of what is concerned from the parent community or student body committee, and then bring information back from her to the parents as needed. So some of the bullet points here that I want to share with you are the information that she shared with us in our last meeting. The first one is the test that's coming up. It's called CWRA Plus, and this is a College and Work Readiness Assessment Plus test, which is happening in January. I don't have details of exactly how this is going to be administered. Is it going to be at school or online? But I'm sure we get to it when it gets closer. But it just something that she wanted to emphasize is that for the students and for the parents to take this test seriously, because this is actually a measurement of how our students are doing. So by taking it seriously, meaning, have a good night's sleep and have a good breakfast before it and things like that. This is not a test that test them about, they don't have to memorize numbers and dates and facts, but this is a test that mostly tests them on critical thinking and written communication skills. So it's a good test, and it's important for school. So we just wanted to keep that in mind. The next thing that she shared with us was in the NCSS, the National Consortium of Specialized STEM Schools. This is when head of STEM schools get together and collaborate on ideas. This usually happens once a year, and this year's is happening this first week of November. Dr. Anderson is actually on the board for this conference, and this year she's bringing 2 students with her. Usually schools bring only 1 student to speak at this conference, but this year she just said she couldn't just decide on 1 student, so she's bringing 2 students with her that she was happy about. This next topic is just to let the parents know that Dr. Akwaji Anderson makes a point on a regular basis. She'll take like 5 or 10 students randomly, and she directly calls them on their phone. She calls from her personal phone just to check on the students and take a pulse of how they're doing and see if there's anything that she could be helping them with, and just to make sure that they're doing okay, and making that she wants to make that connection. She got some feedback from some parents that they were concerned if the students were doing something wrong or they were in trouble. Why is the principal calling them directly? She just wanted to let the parents know, don't panic. This is just a health check. She just wanted to make sure that they're doing okay, and she just wants to make connection with them. There's one more bullet point that I wanted to talk on this slide that I didn't put it on this slide, is particularly for the sophomore parents. And this came directly from the academic team at school, Amy Keck, who works very closely with the sophomores in terms of helping them with their academic needs. And her and her team do everything they could to make sure that the students are successful. One of the things that she heard, and she wanted to make sure that we convey to parents, particularly sophomore parents, only because you're new to school uh, and um, just getting all of this information in terms of like the rigor of the program and how much work they need to put into this work they're doing, just to emphasize and remind that Wednesday I Day is not their day off. The Wednesday I Day is for them to actually get some, do their work. I mean, do homework and do group study, attend the review sessions, uh, connect with the teachers, and this is more for them to get in depth with the information that they receive beginning or end of the school. So please, if there is if they have to run chores or their responsibilities they have, if there's any chance that you could postpone those to the weekend, that would be very helpful for the students. um, not pretend, but take I-Day. This is an actual school day. It's not for them to run chores. It's not for them to get their hair cut or, things like that. I understand if it's a doctor's appointment, but if at all possible, push all of those to the weekends. They really need to be focusing on their schoolwork because there's a lot of work, particularly when they're doing it offline and remotely. So the next slide, Gabriella is going to actually walk us through this one.
Hello, good morning. On October 14th, Dr. Comfort, she sent an email with a PDF file for the parents to set up their Canvas account called Parents Observation in Canvas. It's a very well done, it's very self-explanatory, just follow step by step. There also has a help guide in case you need some help. If you missed this email for any reason, on this slide, there is a link to this Parents Observation Canvas, a PDF file. And under PAC webpage, we have the link also. At Canvas, you can see course assignment, course syllabus, your kids' grades. You can set up your notifications when your child submit a homework, when your child get a grade. Yeah, if you have any questions, you always can email us with any questions. If you can, for some reason, if you could not set up your Canvas account, just ask for help and you can help you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriella. So in our last session, the last deck we had a bunch of information, resources that we put up for as academic resource for the students to use. This last slide that we have is just reiterating the information we have for the library, the Information Resource Center, just to let them know that this is available to the students, and there's a variety of things they could help the students with. They could print material, send it to students if they need it. If they need help finding articles and other resources, there's a immense collection of thousands of ebooks that we have that the librarian will be able to help them with. During the school day, they could actually, there's a live chat that they could reach out to the librarian. And there is also a link here that they could go and make an appointment directly with her during the school day, or they could email her if she's even willing to meet with them outside of the school day, as long as they make connections and email and make sure that it works for them. So Miss Connie James Jenkin is there to help them out, and please have your students reach out and ask for help from her. Thank you. This is all we have.
Okay, great. Moju and Gabriella, there's a question about, oh, okay. So Gabrielle, it looks like that you answered it. So somebody asked what's the difference between Canvas and PowerSchool. Gabrielle answered at PowerSchool, you can only see the kids' grades. At Canvas, you can see all the course syllabus, assignments, and calendar. So hopefully that answered it.
Great.
And Kathleen also said PowerSchool and Canvas don't necessarily communicate, but will eventually be redundant. PowerSchool will be faded out eventually, and it has subscriptions to both concurrently right now. PowerSchool will be lagging Canvas. Okay, so hopefully that's answer some of those questions. And thank you to both of you for the updates.
Sure, thanks.
Next, we have the Student Life Committee, and the chairs are Audrey and Maria Drix-Paulson.
Hi, I'm going to speak on behalf of Audrey and myself. This is Maria. Audrey's on the call as well, so she'll just pop in if I'm going off the rail in any way, shape, or form. But welcome to everybody. We're so glad you're here. We know that you probably have a million other things to do. So I will try to keep this as brief as possible, as much in the Student Life Committee has not changed, as you can imagine. Remember that the Student Life Committee is here to support our students as they are on campus, reporting to Dana Gannett in the Student Affairs Department. And one of the biggest things that we do is the WING program. I put in the chat a real quick email for you if you are interested in being a part of our WING parent program. We do have quite a few parents signed up, and for that we are very grateful. And would be thrilled to have any more that are interested. But at this current time, we're just in a planning mode. Our current schedule or plan of attack for the moment is to meet with various committees at the Academy just to see how things are going, which would be Student Council and the residence counselors, who are also doing a fabulous job of supporting your students. And then we'll get together with our WING parents. So WING parents, I know you haven't heard from us. We love that you are wanting to be a part of it, and we will definitely have a meeting late October, early November, just to check in with you so you can know who Audrey and I are, and to talk about the various updates we've gotten through the Academy and brainstorm some ideas. But one thing we wanted to make sure we were doing is, one, supporting the Academy always, because obviously that's the reason why we're here. And the second reason, the other thing that we wanted to make sure we were focused on, is avoiding Zoom fatigue, which is, I know, the easiest answer for us to do some connections through the school, but we also don't want to overwhelm our students. So we're going to kind of let the Academy be the lead on that, and we'll chat in with those important people, and they'll tell us what they need us to do and how we can help, and then we'll be in touch with you. So thank you in advance for signing up to be a WING parent if you have, and we are not ignoring you. We're just trying to make sure we don't overwhelm anyone. So again, we're thrilled to be here, happy to answer any questions if you have any. And again, if you want to email us privately, Audrey and I will take emails at pacstulife@gmail.com, which is in the chat. And that's all we have.
Thank you, Maria. And then here's their sign-up form for WING parents if you are interested in signing up to be a WING parent this year. And all the lovely pictures that they share of the program. Okay, next we have the Hospitality Committee, which is Svetlana and Danica.
Good morning. My name is Svetlana Smolgovskaya, and I have a senior at IMSA. We are being so grateful for the experiences that we received, and really happy to be there. We also have a 9-year-old who perhaps will be the future IMSA person, but not yet. We don't really have any updates because we're not going live, so we can't really provide any kind of food for any meetings or so forth. But hopefully we will go live and we'll be meeting in person, and we'll be feeding all of you, whenever we have our meetings.
Thank you. And as you can see from this slide, what the hospitality does is coordinate the refreshments for different things at the Academy. Again, as she mentioned, when we go back to live. So if you're interested in volunteering, we'll have the sign up link at the end of the meeting. Okay, next we have Friday Fest Committee, which is chaired by Robin, Gabriella, and Missy.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Yes, as Friday Fest co-chairs, we've met a couple of times since summer, just to sort of anticipate what Friday Fest might look like this year. On the next slide, you can see this is what it looks like in a typical year, but until it's safe to do so, we won't be holding these on a regular basis. So our liaison happens to be Katie Berger with the Academy, who also, we work in conjunction with Brittany Walker, who's the new Director of Campus Activities. And she's the one that helps to actually schedule out Friday Fest events in conjunction with multicultural shows and other fun activities that students do once they're on campus. But she also, as you know, those activities are continuing remotely. Friday Fest being a food activity is very difficult to do remotely. So we have not fleshed out an entire committee at this point, and won't do so until we hear if we're going back a second semester. Next slide. If we do go back second semester, we know that Friday Fest will look very different. We're assuming that there won't be a potluck service and that we won't be able to bring in necessarily homemade goods for drop-off. So we may schedule a delivery of packaged desserts or snacks directly to the halls on some select Fridays, just to create a festive environment. These snacks wouldn't necessarily replace a meal. They would be in addition to. We may also look at offering direct funding to the food service so that they could offer a broader menu selection on a couple of Fridays. And then, of course, we really can't move forward on any plans until once we've had input from the Academy on what will be appropriate.
Thank you, Robin. Okay, and then next is Senior Banquet Committee. And as I had mentioned before, those chairs are still open. So if you do have interest, please send an email to the imsapac@gmail.com. I know that Kathy Williams is talking to some people who may be interested in chairing the committee. As we have mentioned before, because the Senior Banquet was not able to take place last spring, we were able to move the deposits over for the venue and the DJ to this year. So that big task of that the Senior Banquet Committee is taken care of, because we do have the reservation. It is usually held the night before graduation. And it's usually chaired by parents of juniors and sophomores, because when your child is a senior, you are the ones celebrating with your senior. So that's what we're asking for. If there are parents of juniors and sophomores who would like to help coordinate the senior banquet, whether or not it's being a chair or for just helping to plan it or helping to coordinate it during the day of, please email us at the imsapac@gmail.com. Okay, great. And next we have the Transportation Committee, and the chairs are Abhijit and Jill. So Abhijit, Jill?
Well, if Abhijit is not here with us this morning, I'm happy to say good morning to everyone. Abhijit is really the lead with the experience in the Transportation Committee. My son, Miles Massey, is a sophomore. So I have very little experience with the committee because we have no students to transport at this time, but we're looking forward to the day when students are needing a ride to and from the IMSA campus. So the role of the Transportation Committee is to handle the bus service from the academy to the central and southern areas of the state. And we also will be in need of volunteers at the various stops that you see on this slide, so that as the bus arrives at the stops, we just need a parent to supervise and make sure that all of the students who get off the bus are safely in the hands of the parents. And in case a parent is running late, we will stick around and accompany the student until the parent arrives. So more details to come as soon as we have students to transport. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Jill. And as we mentioned in the prior meetings, Abhijit has done a great job of staying in touch with our bus company to make sure that whenever that does take place, when we're back on campus and that students need to be transported, that it's at the ready. So thank you again to both of you. And next we have the technology committee, and the co-chairs for that are Guy and Jose.
Hi, I'm Guilherme Lima, one of the co-chairs. The technology committee is more oriented to help the PAC committee with technology issues. So it's not something that, in a sense, supports most of the parents. So I guess there is not a lot of things for me to talk about. That's it.
Thank you, Guy. Okay, next is our Facebook group's moderator, Jim Ramos.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Jim Ramos. I'm the Facebook group moderator. And as of a couple of days ago, there were 485 members in the group. You can sign up to join the group via this link. Facebook.com groups IMSA PAC. To the next slide.
Okay. So, good. So again, if you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, it's a great place to get updates and also ask questions and stay in touch with fellow parents in between meetings. So like I mentioned before, chair positions available are senior banquet committee co-chairs. So just send us an email if you are interested. And I just have to say, it's been wonderful, the fact that we have had all of the committee positions, chair positions filled besides this one so early in the year. So again, thank you to all the volunteers for taking the time to volunteer and help us plan different things so that we can continue to support families at IMSA. Next is regional representatives, and the regional representatives help by organizing meetups within their region and also to serve as a resource to parents in the region. There's a sign up here if you're interested in being a regional rep. There are 10 regions within the state, so pretty much the state is divided up into 10 parts. And these are the different regions. We do have regional reps so far for all of these regions except for Region 2, Region 4, and Region 7. So if you are interested in being a regional rep for any of those, please send an email to the imsapac@gmail.com or fill out the sign-up form that we'll be sharing the link to in a few minutes. And I'll have Kathy get in touch with you. And thank you to those who have already volunteered to be regional representatives. You should be getting more information from them in the following weeks with some opportunities to meet up as a region. Okay. And next we have an update from the College and Academic Counseling Office at IMSA. Yulia Busen, who is usually the one that gives these updates, is unable to do so today because she is proctoring the PSAT at IMSA. So she did send her updates, and these are the things that she is sharing. So as far as webinars and the CAC newsletter, Financial Planning Night webinar was held on September 24th and is now posted on the CAC website. and college-specific scholarships webinar was held on October 1st and is also on the PAC website. There was an AP webinar held on October 6th, again posted on the website, and the FAFSA completion webinar was held on the 14th this past week, so that link will probably be on the website soon. And then the upcoming webinars that they have will be, Has My Child Applied to College Yet? And that will be on November 3rd. A standardized testing webinar will be held on November 17th, and then a scholarship search non-college specific webinar will be held on November 19th. They also sent out a newsletter in September, which is also posted on the CAC website. And as far as meetings and testing, today the PSAT NMSQT test is taking place at IMSA for juniors, and the National Merit semifinalists will be announced in August. And they are also, the CACs are also meeting with seniors 3 times in the fall during midday. They had a meeting on October 1st. They'll have another meeting on November 2nd, and then also another meeting on December 2nd. And AP registration was open until October 15th, and payments for the AP registration are due by October 22nd. And as far as the college admission process, 145 seniors applied to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign on October 1st. They do have special admission time for IMSA students. 203 seniors have submitted 2,251 college transcript requests. So you can imagine the CACs are very busy with those. Senior parents, please start checking your Students Navient student portal to see which documents were sent to colleges and when. And the 2021 IMSA profile is expected to be published by October 20th. And that will be uploaded to the CAC website. And next, I would like to introduce Katie Berger, who is the Chief Student Affairs Officer, to share some updates from the Academy.
All right, good
Katie?
morning. Thank you, Maria. Good morning to all of you. I'm guessing you went hunting on the website for that picture. Well, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here this morning. I recognize that with COVID and distance learning, it's resulted in countless changes for you when you think about how you're parenting your individual children, but also for your work as members of PAC. So I just want to thank you this morning. I've heard a lot of positivity and adaptability, and just want to really thank you for that, because you truly, through PAC, are going above and beyond, and you are ensuring that our students still have opportunities to engage with their peers and have meaningful experiences, even though they're going to look a little bit different this year in current times. And I know so many of you are kind of waiting in the wings, waiting for us to say, go, it's time to do some of these things. So again, thank you for your positivity and your flexibility and willingness to serve in these roles. As Maria mentioned, we are hosting the PSAT this morning at IMSA. So some of you may have been on campus, some of you may have sent your students to campus, and I know there's definitely a level of excitement for us to have students back on campus and have campus buzzing again with our students, even if it's for just a very short time. As we think about supporting your students during distance learning, and I think about what I'm going to share with all of you, because I always have so many things I could talk about in somewhat of a limited time. I want to just talk a little bit about supporting your students during distance learning and some ways that our team is really taking some active steps and some opportunities for us to engage you as our parent partners. You hopefully know that at 11 o'clock, some of my colleagues from academics are going to be joining you to provide some robust updates and an opportunity for question and answer related to all things academic. So I'm going to kind of leave that to them since that's their area of expertise, and really just want to talk a little bit about supporting our students socially, emotionally, and physically. And I'll start with physically. So our nurse Angie, who I'm sure many of you know, she's been at IMSA for years and she's a wonderful person. She let me know that about a week and a half ago, the first flu report came out, and her exact words were, "It's here, the flu is here." They were experiencing 1% positivity test rates, which is typical for this time of year, but it was just her way of providing a reminder that it's time to get flu shots if you haven't already gotten your flu shot. And that's something that we've been able to offer to our students the last couple of years on campus as just a resource and an easy opportunity for all of you. And that's not something that obviously we're able to offer right now. So if you would like to get your student a flu shot or get yourself a flu shot, now's a great time to do it. Our nurse did also remind us that it takes about 2 weeks for it to be fully effective. So definitely take those steps if that's something that would benefit you and your student as far as health goes. Additionally, as we've been following up with some students and parents regarding unplanned or unexcused absences from class, we've learned that the reason for these absences in many cases is students actually falling asleep and sleeping through classes, or perhaps they're still sleeping from the night before. And my colleague, Dr. Pareja, is here this morning, and she knows that I love to read about sleep and study sleep. And so we know that the large majority of our high school students are not getting enough sleep, and that insufficient sleep is linked to physical and mental health issues as well as academic challenges. And what's interesting is that gifted students are more likely to stay up past their bedtimes and more likely to be taking naps during the day to kind of play catch up on sleep. And so I just want to ask you as parents if there's anything that you can do to support your students getting that rest. I know some of those perfectionist tendencies, I want to stay up, I want to study more, I want to do more, is something that a lot of our students battle with. And the sleep is so important, and it really is linked to their health and to their academic success. So anything you can do as parents to help them get a few extra minutes of shut-eye would definitely be to their benefit. Related to mental health, I'm really excited to share that we were able to get a grant to fund us doing some mental health first aid training for our staff at IMSA. So we've been able to send some people to get trained and certified as trainers, and now we're bringing that back to IMSA. So mental health first aid is a course that teaches our faculty and staff how to identify, understand, and respond to signs of mental illness and substance use disorders. So it provides resources for emotional support and kind of practical tips of how to help. It does not take the place of our professional counselors who have that clinical background, but it's meant to be kind of a first level of intervention. And so we are really excited to be offering that as another resource for our staff, and especially looking at that training virtually. You know, we're interacting with students in such different ways, and it's a great resource for our resident counselors and our faculty and some of our other campus partners to be engaging in that training. We also applied last year. Some of you may have heard me talk about this before. We applied last year to participate in a trauma responsive schools designation pilot with Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago through their Center for Childhood Resilience. So we were selected last year. We were so excited. We started the process of this pilot, and then everything kind of changed in the world of education and in the world of healthcare. And so Lurie said, you know, we're going to pause this pilot for right now. And so we paused, they paused, and now they're re-engaging us in this pilot for the trauma responsive schools designation. And we feel really lucky that we were selected to be a part of this study. And when we applied, we had no idea what the world would look like today. But as we're reading and we're listening and we're observing, we know that there's a lot of trauma related to our students being out of school and related to experiencing this pandemic and related to a whole lot of things. And so we feel really lucky that we're participating in this pilot, because it's going to equip our staff and our institution with some great tools and some great knowledge to support our students who it's expected may have some trauma related to their experiences with COVID. The last thing I'll share about kind of the mental health side of things, and some of you may know this, is that we are adding a third school counselor. And so, you know, we have our 4 CACs who focus on academics and the college application process. And we currently have 2 school counselors who provide more mental health, social, emotional support to our students and who have a clinical training background. We are in the process of conducting first-round interviews for that third school counselor, and it's just another opportunity for us to provide more robust support for our students. Hopefully you all know that the RCs are checking in with the students. If you have a sophomore, the RCs should be checking in with them on a weekly basis and connecting. And if you have an upperclassman, a junior or senior, the RCs will be checking in every other week. The RCs are also offering social and educational programming for the students. And as we get feedback from parents that my student feels really disconnected, I think a great opportunity for them to kind of talk through how they can feel a little more connected, whether that's them taking some intentional steps or just authentically through things that are already happening on campus, is really having that conversation with their RC. There's a lot going on related to academic support and tutoring and study groups. Talk to your RC. The RCs are involved in helping to facilitate all of that. There are club activities going on. Talk to your RC. They're involved in a lot of that. And I would say for you as parents, if you're concerned about your student, the RCs are also a great kind of first stop for you as well, as a resource, as somebody who can answer questions, and if nothing else, who can connect you to the right person to get you the information that you need. So if you have not already connected with your student's RC, I would really encourage you to do that, because they're just really great people who really care about the students. They're struggling with the fact that the students aren't on campus. They're in the role because they want to be able to support students living on campus. And so any opportunity for them to be more effective in how they support students and get that feedback from you is always much appreciated. And when in doubt, you can always call the Student Life office. I had a parent reply to an email that we had sent out, one of the parents-l emails, and they were like, I have this question, but I have no idea who to ask. That happens all the time. And so when in doubt, call the Student Life office or email us, and we're more than happy to help. And our phone number is 630-907-5009. And I'll put it in the chat when I'm done talking. Make sure you have it, and just call us. We'll figure out how to get you the help that you need. A lot of questions that are coming up are related to the Transition Task Force. And Maria mentioned the Transition Task Force earlier because she is in one of our working groups. So thank you to Maria for representing the parent voice and for being kind of the collector of the little pieces of feedback that come up from parents. Continue to let Maria know kind of what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Thank you to all of you who completed the survey, starting to think about repopulation and what that could look like and what your comfort level is and what your concerns are back in September. We did send an email out on October 2nd that shared the results with our communities, and it really looked at the feedback from the standpoint of our key stakeholder groups. So what did the students say? What did the parents say? And what did the staff, including faculty, say? And that's really a way that we want to be transparent with all of you. You know, we're going to ask for your feedback, and then we're going to let you know, okay, here's kind of what we learned through that process. Yesterday was the end of the first quarter. Hopefully you all are aware that yesterday was the end of the first quarter. With the sophomores, we kind of did the happy dance. Yay, end of first quarter. You made it. In conjunction with the end of the first quarter, we're going to be, surveying you again. Dr. Preha is here for some focus groups. So we really want to, again, kind of get some feedback from you about how did this first quarter go in distance learning. So again, please continue to share your feedback with us. We will be releasing a repopulation plan following our November Board of Trustees meeting. So I know there's a lot of questions related to that. Unfortunately, that is the topic that I don't have a ton of answers for you on, other than that I can share, we're happy to share the survey data with you, and we're going to be releasing something in November. So keep your eyes open for that. The Student Affairs newsletter went out yesterday. Check that out. I know we talked about Zoom fatigue and screen fatigue. The top image on there talks about the 20-20-20 rule, which is a way to kind of give your eyes a break. We would love feedback from all of you about topics that you want to see covered in future newsletters. The newsletter is really aimed at you and your students, and we guess what we think you might want to know about in the newsletter, but we might not always get it right. So please share any feedback with us about topics you may want to hear about in the future, so that we can really customize that document to you and to what you're interested in learning about. So I will stop there. That was a lot of information. I kind of tell Maria I'm like a goldfish, so I'll expand to the size of my bowl. If you give me a little time, I'll be short, and if you give me a lot of time, I'll take more of the time. But again, thanks for inviting me. Thank you all for joining this morning. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to chat them to me, and I'd be happy to answer them. Oh, I see there's like a ton of chats right now. I'm gonna have to go back and read them all. So just give me 1 minute.
Well, there is one question about a parent asking about your thoughts about the appropriate level of parent checking in with the teachers regarding students. since they're used to parent-teacher conferences?
Great question. So I will give you my own feedback. And then I will also suggest that you ask that question again during that 11 to 11:30 time frame, because you're going to have our Dean of Student Support and Equity here, as well as a couple of faculty members. And so their answers might be a little bit different. As far as engaging with the faculty member, I am a big believer in the fact that, you're sending your students to IMSA, they're going to be living independently. And so we want to, as best as possible, kind of equip them with advocacy skills to be able to have some of those conversations on their own. And so given the fact that your student is at home with you, if there are opportunities for you to kind of coach your student and having conversations with the faculty member, and they're motivated and willing to do that, then that's a great opportunity for you to kind of help them build some of those life skills that will benefit them once they're physically at IMSA, once they're in college, and well beyond. I think if you have a concern and you want to reach out to the faculty member, go ahead and reach out to that faculty member. Everybody is trying to figure out the best way to support students in a new environment, which is this distance learning environment. And there are so many factors that we normally don't have to contend with that we're needing to contend with right now. So it's always better to reach out and to ask the question and to make the contact, as opposed to kind of sit on your hands and wait. And then sometimes even waiting a few days, even waiting a week can really make a big difference. So when in doubt, I would say always reach out.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, we'll give maybe another couple minutes for questions if anybody has any other questions for Katie. And otherwise, if you have any further questions, Katie, what's the best email address for you if they want to reach out to you?
So I will put my personal email address in here, and then I'm also going to put the phone number for the Student Life office. So it would likely be Minerva or myself that answer that phone. And if you don't know Minerva, you'll get to know her. She's wonderful, and she really is kind of the best connector around campus and the knower of all things. So just let us know if there's anything that you need, and we'll certainly connect you with the right information and the right people.
Thank you very much. Okay. So one thing that we talked a lot about is volunteers are needed, and I did see in the chat, yes, thank you to everyone who has signed up so far. As you can tell, a lot of the committees right now are in limbo, simply because some of the activities are for when we're back on campus. But if you signed up, don't worry. The committee chairs will be reaching out to you once there's more information to share as far as moving forward with some of the activities. But in the meantime, please feel free to fill out this form, bit.ly/PAC-info2021, if you're interested in serving in any of the committees listed below. And if you have any questions for the PAC, you can always reach out to us at theimsapac@gmail.com, and we'll make sure your emails are forwarded to the appropriate people that can help you out. Our upcoming PAC meeting dates, the next one is on Saturday, November 14th. And again, it'll be from 10 to 11:30. 10 to 11 is our general meeting. 11 to 11:30 are our speaker sessions. And as you can see, every month it's listed over here. And our website is on IMSA's website as well. It's under the Student Life, portion, and it's under Parents Association Council. That also will have our slide decks from our meetings, as well as the recordings from our meetings on there, and any upcoming information, and a full contact list if you need to reach out to any of the committee chairs or executive board directly. Okay, so with that, we have about 5 minutes for questions before we introduce our speakers for today. So are there any questions in the chat that we have not covered? And leadership team, if you happen to see anything that, any questions that either we haven't covered or you were able to answer in the chat that you think would be helpful for others to know, please feel free to share. Okay. Oh, Katie, there is a question from a parent who said they didn't get the student affairs email. Who's the best person for them to reach out if they aren't getting these emails from the school?
So
From
you
the
can
academy.
just go ahead and email me. That'll make it the easiest and we'll look into it. The roster should be pulling based on what is in PowerSchool. So I would say before you send me an email, just double check your spam account. It went out yesterday afternoon, and sometimes because it goes out through Constant Contact, it can get flagged and put in your junk folder. And then double check what is in PowerSchool, and then let us know from there. So you can say, okay, if you got it and it went to spam, just make sure that you let your email account know that it's not spam. If you did not get it, double check PowerSchool to make sure that you have that email address in PowerSchool. If you need us to change or update what you have in PowerSchool, email me that too. But if you're like, it's not in my junk folder, my email address is in PowerSchool, then let me know that too, because it just helps me figure out how to troubleshoot.
Thank you. Okay. So there were some questions about the next Board of Trustees meeting. That meeting is on November 18th, and the information is on the PAC website as well.
I believe it's at 8:30. So for the board meetings, the agenda and everything gets posted the week before. So look the Wednesday before and it'll have the agenda posted, and it will also share the time that the meeting starts. Typically the board will open the meeting and then they'll go into closed session and they'll cover anything related to closed session, and then they'll reconvene in open session, and the agenda that's posted the week before will tell you exactly what time they plan to convene for open session, and they'll never convene before that time. So if they say, okay, the meeting's starting at 8:30, we're gonna go into closed session, we'll reconvene for open session at 9 a.m. and they wrap up early in closed session, like at 8:45, they can't begin closed session until the time that is stated on the website. Sometimes they go long in closed session, so you may have to wait a little bit longer than the time posted, but all of that will be posted a week before. So check board docs the week before. Hopefully that makes sense. And then there's a question, can you please repeat what we can expect, when we can expect to hear next steps for re-entry? So that will be following the November 18th board meeting. So the board will review and likely provide us some guidance during that November 18th board meeting. And so then we'll be able to share the full plan after that.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
1026, the question from
yes, Ellie. Okay. So
there's a question of how do we send questions to the board meeting? So Maria represents parents to the board, so she's a great person to kind of work with because she'll put together a written report and then have the opportunity to provide verbal comments in response to her written report during the meeting. I will find the board policy. I'm going to be honest, I don't know off the top of my head, and I don't want to give you the wrong information. So there is a board policy regarding comments during the board meeting. So let me just find that and I'll link it in the chat. So Robin's question about the upcoming assembly on Friday. Yes, so there is an assembly scheduled for Friday. Our assembly time is from 2:30 to 3:30, and it really has a dual purpose. So the first purpose is to honor Dr. Leon Letterman, who is Nobel laureate, founder of IMSA, who passed away a few years ago. So it's an assembly to kind of remember and honor him for all of his contributions to IMSA. And it is also the time that we are going to award our alumni award recipients. And so the assembly will essentially have that kind of dual purpose. It is required for students. It is an opportunity for parents to participate and attend and view if that is something that you are interested in doing. And I would assume that it's going to be recorded, but I don't know for sure. So let me find out and I'll send an email to all of you to confirm.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So it's about 11 o'clock, and Katie, if you wouldn't mind to introduce our speakers for today, and I did make you co-host if you'd like to give them the ability to share, if there's anything they'd like to share.
Okay, I'm just taking a look because I want to make sure that they are here. So today, as I mentioned, Maria and I have been meeting on a regular basis just to kind of check in and see how things are going. And as we were discussing this first kind of official PAC meeting that's separate from Parents' Day, I said, what do you want to focus on? What do you want to talk about? And she said, oh, I think that we should talk about academics. I think that we should talk about supporting our students during distance learning, talk about how to help them manage their IMSA responsibilities, their academic commitments, with also being at home, which is not something that our students are necessarily used to balancing. And so I'm really excited that some of my colleagues are here to talk to you all today. So we have Mr. Paul Gazik, who is our Dean of Student Support and Equity. Paul joined us at the beginning of the academic year in August and has really hit the ground running and helping us think about different ways to support students. And I'm sure he'll have a more robust introduction for himself in just a minute here. And then we have two of our faculty members. So Miss Erin Miklo, who I'm sure is a friendly and familiar face to all of you, English faculty member, Writing Center coordinator extraordinaire, and then Evan Brummett, who is from our math faculty, who has been with IMSA for a few years, and I know our students feel incredibly supported by him and his energy. So thank you to the three of you for being here, and I will turn it over to you for your presentation and question and answer session.
Thank you so much, Katie. So good to see everybody this morning. I'm going to put into the chat just some of the topics that we're going to address today with an opportunity for some question and answer at the end. So thanks to Katie for introducing the three of us. I'll give just a little bit more information on myself since I am relatively new to IMSA, as Katie mentioned, and many of you probably not had an opportunity to meet with me just yet. So my name is Paul. I just started at IMSA about 2 months ago, and I came from a long time in higher education. I spent 14 years at various universities at the faculty level, dean level, and also the chief academic officer level. So I've had a little bit of an opportunity over the years to get involved in all levels of academics and academic support. And I'm excited to bring that experience here to IMSA to support the Academy and our students and our parents. And so far, the time I've spent at IMSA has been wonderful. Everyone's been very supportive and very student-centered, which is very appreciative to help all of our students to achieve their goals and their outcomes. And in my role, some people have been saying I'm sort of like the new Miss Hinterlong, which I suppose is an accurate description in some ways for those who've been associated with IMSA for a while. I have some of those same duties related to academic support and grading and Power School and so on and so forth, but I'm also working very, very closely with Dr. Kwaji Anderson and our other new Dean, Dean Bartley, on academic matters as well. So that's a little bit about me. I'll throw it over to Erin and Evan for a second if they would like to introduce anything else about themselves before we go ahead and talk about distance learning adjustments.
I'm Erin Miklo. This is my 12th year at IMSA. And I'm like they said, I am part of the English faculty. And I'm also, I have sort of a hybrid position because I also have a few releases as the Writing Center Director, as well as I am the writing specialist for IMSA. So I work with students who struggle in writing intensive classes. So there's lots of students that come to me for writing help that aren't my own students. You know, they're not in my classes, but they need help with a college essay, or they are just struggling with where to start on an essay for history because they're a sophomore and they've never written a major history paper before. And that kind of thing. So I work with students across the academy, and as well as supervising and training our Writing Center tutors. And we've done some really exciting new things this year because of distance learning that I'm sure we'll get to, but that's who I am.
Hi, I'm Evan Brummett. This is my 3rd year at IMSA. I'm also a coach of the math team as well as being in the math department, so that's exciting. I'm fortunate I get to teach a lot of classes here. I love being an IMSA for that reason. So I teach some sophomores in the MI curriculum, and then I also have some electives where I get to teach some seniors too. So it's a lot of fun for me.
All right, thank you both. And all three of us are part of the strategies team, which is a team that meets weekly to discuss academic support, talk about at-risk students, and talk about how we can broadly impact the academy to support students on the academic level. So we're weekly having conversations on those issues. So let's go to our first bullet there about adjustments for distance learning and some of what we have been doing at the academy. And as you're all well aware of, it's ever since March, really education across the country has been trying to adjust to the ongoing global pandemic and trying to move to online and distance education. And as someone who's relatively new to IMSA, I can say that one of the very early positives that I noticed from IMSA in the process of coming on board was the proactive and really intentional approach to distance education that IMSA was taking. I got to see other institutions and schools all across the country, from friends and colleagues and family, who were scrambling and were having a lot of difficulty trying to adjust to this transition, and IMSA has really handled it extremely well. We still have more to do, we still have more to learn, and there's still more adjustments we can make, but I've been really encouraged as sort of a newcomer and having that fresh perspective at the approach that IMSA has been taking to all of this. And so in terms of what we've been doing and adjusting to virtual learning, I know Aaron and Evan will have some very more specific examples, but I'll talk about some high level things. One is that, as many of you know, we've adopted a new learning management system called Canvas that we are all trying to adjust to rapidly and trying to make sure that it is as effective as possible for our faculty, our students, and our parents. Learning management systems, I know we've used in the past things like Google Classroom, and we have a whole bunch of different avenues in which students and faculty have been able to interact and engage online. The real positive thing about having something like Canvas as an academy-wide program and platform is that it really does create some consistency for our students and allows for the faculty and administration as well to be able to collaborate more effectively and efficiently in being able to communicate student learning outcomes, resources, and it's not just about the individual classes in Canvas, but there's also opportunities to build out other platforms for academic support and resources. And Aaron was actually pivotal in trying to build out one of those just recently as well. So in terms of Canvas, I'll throw it over to Aaron for a second, if you wouldn't mind talking about the Academic Support Hub, Aaron, that you helped create. You're on mute, Aaron.
Sorry. We created something that we've called the Academic Support Hub, which has gone in, it appears in Canvas to your students as one of their courses. That way they all have access to it. And what that does is it's a place where they can access information on who all of the tutors are, both the Writing Center tutors and tutors for other specific discipline areas. You know, if they need a tutor for MSI, or if they need a tutor for you know, AdChem or something, they can go there and find out who the tutors are for those particular courses and how to reach them. So there's different ways they can try and, you know, set up their own video appointments through email. They can go, there's like sort of an open office hours time when there are tutors scheduled into like a Zoom room, and they can go there and then go into a breakout room with another tutor and work that way. So that is sort of a one-stop shop where students can go and find all the information that they need. And we encourage students to use that, because otherwise they may not know, you know, where to go, especially for the sophomores, but that way it's all in one place. And I also want to touch on another program that we started this year to support the students and the sophomores in particular. We, for all of the LE1 classes, which is the sophomore English class, and all of the American Studies classes this semester, we have embedded Writing Center tutors into the course. So each of them has anywhere between 2 to 4 Writing Center tutors in their course. And those Writing Center tutors will attend class at least once a week. So the class meets twice a week, and each time there will be at least 1 or 2 Writing Center tutors in the course with them. So they get to know those tutors. Those tutors are going into breakout rooms with them and working with the students on, you know, things related to writing, or just sort of building sort of camaraderie so that the students feel comfortable with those tutors. And that way it gives a face to the tutoring program. And those students, those sophomores who have never met any of these tutors in person, you know, normally if we're on campus, they can just go down the hall and they can work with the Writing Center tutor who lives in their section. And because we're not there and we're not able to do that, we've built this program so that the sophomores feel comfortable and familiar with the tutors, so they have someone to reach out to. Those tutors have also, because they've been in the class, they know exactly what the teacher's expectations are. They are able to run workshops in the evening or afternoons and really be the go-to person for those students. And so far it seems to be working really, really well. The teachers are excited about it. The tutors are really liking it. And I know they're staying very busy tutoring the students in those classes. So at this point, it looks like that is something we will continue into the second semester because it's been successful and I think a really good source of support.
Thanks, Erin.
Sure.
Some other things that we've been doing in terms of virtual learning. Another is we have training that we've been doing around Canvas. So again, trying to advance all of our administrative and faculty capacities to be able to leverage that technology as best as possible. We'll also be doing some training on PowerSchool in this coming week. And many of our faculty are very well versed in PowerSchool, but we know just how critical that platform is now at a distance to make sure that there's timely feedback for students in regard to how they're doing in their classes and their grades as well. And we also have ongoing review of different technology and services to try to support our students. Two that come to mind immediately. One is that we've been having very immediate conversations about closed captioning for Zoom, and we've been trying to find some solutions around that so that students who may be hearing impaired, or it may just be easier for students to be able to read along as we go through Zooms, as we know that when you're in a Zoom and people are talking, things can be going very, very quickly, and it's not always easy to capture all that's being said. And so we think we have some good solutions in place for that, and we're examining those and piloting those right now to try to implement those. We're also looking into, and I think we just received these this last week, we have some writing tablets that will be going out to students that will allow us to be able to leverage that technology and especially help in some of the different disciplines. And Evan, maybe you're able to speak to that, because that seems to be something that is really applicable to math in particular.
Yes, definitely. So for the MI curriculum, that would be MI2, MI3, MI4. Those are usually those pre-calculus classes at IMSA. IMSA has created worksheets to kind of act as a textbook for the students. Obviously, that's very tough to do over Zoom. And it's hard to communicate math without having a written piece of paper in front of you. And so originally we started sending worksheets via mail, and we sent like workbooks to the students. Now we're excited with the tablets. We believe that they'll be able to kind of complete them together, collaborate more effectively online using various tools and platforms. And so I think that'll be very, very beneficial for that.
Thanks, Evan. A couple more things I'll mention, then I'll toss it back to Erin and Evan to maybe if they have additional examples they might want to provide here, but some other ways in which we're trying to adjust to virtual learning. I want to mention Titan Crew, which, that's not an initiative that was designed specifically for the virtual environment. That's something that we would have done as an academy regardless, but Titan Crew, the opportunity for students to be able to build relationships with faculty, to meet with faculty and other students twice per week, to have sort of informal conversations or play games or just to get to know each other and build community, I think is really critical in these remote environments where students are at home, they're isolated, they don't have those opportunities for spontaneous engagement in the hallway or in the dormitories. So I think just having that, it's sort of a fortuitous opportunity that we implemented that this year. And it's giving students the opportunity to just find community and have more opportunities to touch base with their faculty and build those relationships. And one more thing I'll mention is about workload. That's something that we've all been examining very closely, and that the principal's office and the faculty have been having really great collaborative conversations over recent weeks about how can we make sure that the workload is appropriate for the virtual and distance learning environment. And when we think about what's appropriate for workload, there's a lot of things that we need to balance. We need to make sure that the students are still getting the IMSA experience, that they're getting all of the learning outcomes, that they're getting the appropriate level of rigor, that we're preparing them for their next classes and their college careers, that we're setting them up for success as best as we can. But how can we also make sure that we're trying to mitigate overwhelming them with too much work in the remote environment? Because it's very easy, I found, and this is not, again, just an IMSA thing, but I'm seeing this at institutions like all across the country from friends and colleagues, that just the workload tends to pile up very quickly in a distance learning environment because of many different factors. And so we're trying to explore that as closely as we can, and the faculty and the principal's office have been collaborating really well on that, thinking about how can we approach assessments differently, how can we approach workload differently, what can we do to make sure that we're finding that perfect middle ground so that students can achieve what they need to without being too overstressed and too overwhelmed with the workload. So Those are ongoing conversations. We've been talking most immediately in recent weeks about assessments and how can we approach assessments in different classes to make sure that students have an opportunity, and what's a good mixture of having take-home tests or take-home assessments as opposed to what's done during the actual synchronous classroom experiences. And so those are ongoing, and we know that, and this is sort of another thing that I'm very happy and excited about as a new person at IMSA to see is that flexibility among the faculty and the administration to try to look at and take that formative feedback as we go through a semester and see what's working, what's not working, and be willing to pivot as we can to try to support our students. So I'll throw it back to Erin and Evan now. If you have any additional examples you might want to share of how have we been just collectively in the faculty been trying to adjust to the remote learning environment to support students.
I can go first, or it doesn't matter? Okay, I'll go. So like I was saying before with the MI curriculum, those worksheets are super important. I do think math presents a unique challenge as far as reducing workload, only because there's certain prerequisite material that you need for your next class. So we've definitely had lots of conversations about what we should cut, but we can't cut everything, and that's what kind of our challenge is. I will say, with our workbooks, the lucky thing is that we have a very advanced curriculum, and IMSA goes into, it goes a lot more in depth than maybe a typical curriculum would. And so we have made a lot of those worksheets in the workbooks optional so that students aren't taking up their time. Doing things that they might not need necessarily in the next course, and only making sure that they do the worksheets that they really need for their next course. So that would be a big thing that we do is we've eliminated some of the worksheets, and even more so, we've eliminated a lot of the problem sets. So I don't know how many of you have people in MI, but problem sets are typically very stressful for the students. They're like longer homework assignments that we would give out weekly, and they cover some stuff in the course and some content that would be outside of the course. And we have basically eliminated those completely. We have sub those in for WebWorks, which is an online homework system. I'm trying to build like skills, algebra practice, and kind of other skills they might need throughout the course. But those take much less time than a typical problem set would. So we're hoping that the students, since they kind of have time saved on the problem sets, that they can keep up with the worksheets and still advance to the curriculum so that they're set up to be successful in their next course.
I would say that from the humanities departments, I think most of us are giving fewer essays and spending more time trying to build the skills that they need to write those essays because we don't get to see them as often. I mean, they're still doing lots of readings, they're still doing a lot of writing, but we are trying to sort of dig deeper on less big assessments to make sure that they really get what we want them to get out of that. I think also from a teacher perspective, we are encouraging them to reach out to their teachers when they need anything. All teachers have some some office hours that are published. It should be published on their syllabus and on their Canvas page. But I tell mine, I mean, yes, I have like an hour, each day that's always allotted just for that. But I meet with them whenever. I have spent time on a Sunday afternoon going over college essays with students because I have all seniors this fall. I meet with my writing center tutors. Sometimes we'll have 9 p.m. meetings on a Sunday because that's the time that works in their schedule. So it's kind of, these are strange times because normally I would not be on campus. I live a half hour away from campus and I wouldn't be able to do those kinds of things. But because of this kind of odd schedule, I think teachers are being a lot more flexible in terms of time. It doesn't mean teachers are available 24/7. I don't want to say that. Teachers would not be happy with me for saying that. But I think that teachers we are here to help them. And I think people are pretty flexible about the way that looks. And so we just need students to reach out when they need help. And I think I can speak for myself, and I think this is true for most of my colleagues. I'm trying to really reach out to families, and to students when something is missing right off the bat and say, hey, you're missing this paper, what's going on? Let's talk. Because sometimes it's just a matter, students have more responsibilities, frankly, I think, being at home than they do when they're on campus. Sometimes it's little siblings that they're looking out for. Sometimes they have, I know some have part-time jobs. Again, I have seniors. and other things. And I know that there are just more responsibilities, chores around the house, that kind of thing. So academics isn't always like the front and center focus. And so, you know, we want to be partners with the parents. If there's anything going on that you think it would be helpful for us as faculty to know, we would really like you to reach out to us with those things. And you know, we're just really here to try and support the students. The technology road, I have to be honest, with Canvas has been a little bumpy. It's been bumpy for students and it's been bumpy for teachers because we didn't get trained on it until a couple weeks before, because IMSA hadn't, we had to go through a whole procurement process. And so IMSA didn't have access to Canvas until really, you know, the beginning of August. And that's when teachers started being trained in it. And it's a pretty robust and complicated system. And so there's been some bumps in the roads. And I think we've been trying to be as flexible with students as possible. You know, when they say, but I turned it in, and we look and it didn't, you know, they thought they turned it in, but they didn't hit. Sometimes there's lots of different buttons. You have to go down a little trail to get things turned in. So I think all the teachers are trying to be as flexible as possible with those kinds of things. There's times where I thought that I posted the homework assignment and I did the whole thing and somehow I didn't hit publish. And so it didn't go up, you know? So if they think my teacher said there was going to be homework and now it's not on Canvas, what do I do? You know, email the teachers. Because it might be, I was like, oh no, I didn't realize I didn't hit publish. So there's bumps in the road for all of us in terms of Canvas and this whole new program. But I think we're all being as patient and flexible with each other as we can. And really, we're just here to support the students.
And just to reiterate kind of what Erin was saying, I do think all of us are really trying to be flexible and trying to be there for your students. I would agree with the emailing. What I said in Parent Day is that I really missed the math office. It was so informal and so easy for students just to walk by for 2 minutes and ask a question and leave. And I know it's harder over Zoom and over email. It's almost like a barrier. It's hard for them to kind of get over the formality of sending me an email to set up a quick little 2-minute meeting. But I promise that we're all really willing to do it. And so please just encourage them to reach out to us, to the peer tutors, to the study session, all those type of things to get help when they need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you both. And that leads us into our next topic, which is about how can you as the parents continue to support your students in the systems learning format. And I think Evan and Erin just hit one of the big keys, and a question came up in the chat as well about this. And I think a real critical piece is for all of you to be proactive and to encourage your students to be proactive. In this remote environment, we don't have those opportunities, like Evan's saying, in the offices, in the hallways, in the classrooms, to have those touch points with our students, to be able to see what's going on with them. And so the more that you can encourage them to be proactive, and the more you as parents can also be proactive. And if you're seeing something at home that maybe we're not getting an opportunity to see because we're just not physically in the same location as them any longer, feel free to reach out to your faculty, reach out to the principal's office. We're all here to help the students. And so the more we can open up those lines of communication, the better off all of us will be and all the students will be as well. So never hesitate to let us know when something's going on or if you have concerns, and we can try to address those as much as possible. And if you reach out to someone and they don't have the answer for you, they'll be able to pass it along to someone who might be able to address the question. So never hesitate, and don't worry if you're talking to the right person or not. We all work together. We'll be able to find the right person to help you out. Some other things to consider as parents for how you can support your students: continue just to watch for emails, for comments, to check PowerSchool regularly. Q1 grades are coming very, very soon. Q1 ended yesterday. We're going to have grades in by a week from Monday, so make sure you're keeping an eye on all that information. So that should be old news, but again, it's critical because there just may be things, different dynamics in play, as Erin was saying, in this remote environment. So we want to make sure that we're having a critical eye on how students are doing and how we can best support them. We're also going to have the opportunity to sign up for Canvas as parents, and that's relatively new. We're working on all those logistics. I know that the details have been shared already to some of you, but a larger communication to all parents will be going out soon with communication and information on how you can sign up for parent access to Canvas, so that you'll be able to take a look at courses and see some other content, so that you'll feel like you have that connection there as well. That's a relatively easy process, and we've been trying to work through all the bumps in that to make sure that we can open it up to all of you with as little trouble and hurdles as possible. So look forward to that communication probably sometime early next week. And then I'll throw it back now to Aaron and Evan. If you have additional thoughts on how can parents, just from a faculty perspective, be supportive of students, and what can we do to help our students in this virtual environment?
One thing I would mention is I think there was a lot of confusion about there's grades that teachers have put into Canvas, and then there's grades that go into PowerSchool. PowerSchool is their grade. I mean, that's the grade you should focus on. So once you do have access to Canvas, don't worry as much about any grades that you see in Canvas, because originally they thought the two systems would be able to talk. When we entered grades into Canvas, they would go into PowerSchool, and that has turned out to not be the case. So I just want to say, as parents are getting access to Canvas, don't panic, because the grades may look different. And it's because the actual grades, the way we weight them, like in my class right now, 70% of their grade is made up of essays and projects. And 15% is made up of homework and quizzes, that kind of thing. And Canvas wasn't letting us weight grades in that way. So they're going to look different. Focus on PowerSchool is the grade. So I just want to clarify that. I also think, that we want parents to just ask their students what they're learning, ask them what they're struggling with. If there's anything that you think we could help more with, let us know that. If there's anything going on at home that would be helpful for teachers to know, let us know that as well. Because these are, I think, a lot of students who maybe struggled with a little bit of anxiety before this. This pandemic has really upped anxiety levels and upped stress for everybody, I think adults and kids. And so, if your son or daughter is struggling, let us know. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help, because that's helpful for teachers to know. Sometimes we just see, oh, well, they didn't turn in an assignment. We don't know if they just chose not to do it or what the deal is. So any information you can give us, we're a partnership here, and we're happy to work with you. So the more information for us, the better.
Yeah, I don't think I have too much else to add. I think a lot of it's been said, but I would just keep reiterating to have them reach out early and often. It's really easy for things to get kind of snowballed and for more work to kind of pile up and get behind. So just have them reach out to obviously the teachers, go to the study sessions if there are any for your class, go to the peer tutors and get the help. I think after they do it like the first time, they might finally see it's not so bad and it's worth it. And so I think that's just kind of a good first step.
Well, I know we only have a few minutes left in our allotted time together, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time, but I also want to give the opportunity for anyone to ask questions if you may have some. So if we have any questions, please feel free to ask. And Maria, I don't know if there was a way we were handling Q&A in the previous sessions, but if you want to speak up or type them in the chat, either is fine.
Paul, I was just wondering if you could cover, especially for parents of sophomores, how it differs from the traditional school in regards to report cards.
Sure. How it differs in terms of report cards?
Right. Whether or not they're issued, where parents can find comments. I know because that's a little bit different than the traditional school.
Good question. Let me get an answer for all of you on that, since this is my first go around. I don't know what the traditional looks like as well as most people do. So let me get an answer for that, and I can get that question and answer out to everybody.
I think teachers will all, unlike I think a lot of regular high schools, I know my own kids' school, high school, used PowerSchool as well. And so we weren't, I know for my own kids, they're not issued any kind of a print report card. But you could go in and you could see their grades, and it showed sort of when their grade was final. So IMSA will, sort of let you know, okay, that is the final grade for the quarter, or that is the final grade for the semester. And both at the quarter and the semester, students will have comments from every single one of their teachers, and also from their RC. So they get sort of a residential life comment as well. So do, take a look out for that. Again, from the parent side, I haven't looked at it in IMSA's system from the parent side, but do be aware that you will be getting comments, and that they're not just good job. They tend to write like a short paragraph about how the students are doing. So definitely make sure to take an eye out for that. Look for that.
Mm-hmm. I see a question in the chat asking about return to school in January. So no definitive choice has been made just on what school will look like come January, but I know there is a full task force that is working on that project, and I'm part of that, examining every level and layer of what return to school would look like if it is safe to do so based on CDC guidelines and the state of Illinois guidelines as well. So that is still to come, but planning is well and deep into the process at this point to make sure that if the ability to return is possible, then we will have a plan in place for that. But more to come on all of that as not only the plans evolve, but also the world around us evolves, so we can know what's possible come January. And when are quarter grades due from faculty? So quarter grades are going to be due a week from this coming Monday. And faculty, the quarter ended on Friday yesterday, and faculty will have an opportunity to grade throughout this coming week. So quarter one grades will be due by 5 p.m. a week from Monday.
Okay, well, we're right around. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Let's see. We're right around 11:30, so I just wanted to say thank you to Paul, Aaron, and Evan for all the great information that you've shared. And if parents have any follow-up questions, who should they reach out to?
You can send them either to me. Well, actually, I'll just say go ahead and send any questions to me. And like I mentioned before, if I'm not the appropriate person to answer the question, I will make sure it gets to the right person. So I'm going to put my email in the chat for everyone. And just feel free to direct any questions there.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of all of us parents, we do appreciate everything that the Academy and the staff, faculty have been doing to try to work around these very different times, and for giving us these great tips on how to support the kids and in the meantime. And so again, thank you for taking the time to speak with us on all of that. And parents, again, if you have any questions, feel free to either reach out directly to Paul, and he can send out the information. And I'm also putting the IMSA PAC email in there as well. So if any of you have questions regarding this, we can forward them on. And also, if you have any questions or comments or any input for the parent portion for the board, please feel free to reach out to me again at the imsapac@gmail.com. And again, thank you to everyone who joined us today, and also to Katie for giving us updates on the Academy. We hope that all of you will be able to join us for next week's next month's meeting. I know that everybody would love to meet again next week, but it'll be next month on the 14th, I believe. I already forgot what the date is. But we will be sharing the recording of this meeting as well as a slide deck on the website, and we'll be sending out an email when those are updated. So with that, I just wanted to, yes.
Oh, I just wanted to mention one thing. Maybe Paul can give a little bit more information on this, because a parent had a question that they asked me. As far as the tablets go, parents aren't expected to pay for the tablets. Those are IMSA's tablets. Can you just explain a little bit, because some of them are already getting them in the mail and they're kind of like, wait, what is this? Can you explain what the process is, that they're being checked out to the students and then, but they're still the property of IMSA, right? Can I don't know, Katie or Paul, can somebody explain that?
That is the process. Yeah, I mean, there are Academy resources that are being shared with the students. So, Katie, I don't know if there was a cabinet level communication that went out about that. If not, then I can double check on that and make sure that there's information that's being sent.
So I started typing when you all were talking about the tablets earlier, and then I was like, oof, this is too long. Nobody wants to read this. So Dr. Kwashi Anderson actually sent out an email, and we're having an issue with our listserv system. So it's in the queue, but starting yesterday, like mid-morning, we're not able to approve any of our listserv communications. So once that issue is addressed, parents, I think there's 3 in the queue for you, and there are several more in the queue for students. But unfortunately, right now we're just experiencing a little bit of an IT issue with being able to log into our listserv system to release emails. So we certainly apologize for the kind of out of order experience, because in a perfect world, you're going to receive an email before you receive this fancy box in the mail with a spiffy new tablet. So I apologize. Dr. Kwajing Anderson did draft an email, and it's just sitting there waiting to be sent. So thank you for asking the question today to allow for some explanation, and you'll get an email soon about it whenever we can fix that system.
Hey, Katie, would you mind if you could send me the information that their parents are supposed to have, and we'll be glad to post it on in the parents Facebook group.
Yeah,
in the
great
meantime.
idea. I'll forward it to you right now.
And I think she's frozen.
Am I frozen? Oh no.
Yes.
Questions, comments? No? Okay. Well, with that, I hope everyone has a great rest of the weekend. I would say enjoy the weather, but I think for most of us, it'll be a little chilly. So everybody stay warm and stay safe, and we will see you next month.
And if you are planning to participate in the focus group with Dr. Pareja and Ms. Gannett, please just stay right here and we'll give you some additional information. Oh, just kidding. I got another message. If you are participating in the focus group, you got an email from Dana. So please join us in the Zoom links that Dana sent out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Maria, I just sent you the email about the tablet. So if you want to take that and put it in the Facebook page, then everybody will at least have the information.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah, in 5 years, I've never experienced this issue with the listserv, so I'm not sure what's going on, but we'll get it addressed.
We appreciate it.
All right, you all have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.